Whoa, it maybe does. Queen e8 check, king g7. Does the king run out? To the back cave.
The king runs.
To the analysis board. He's getting out. Knight h5 check, king h6, and there's nothing to it.
Then there's queen e... Nope, that doesn't work. Queen e6 to h3.
Oh my gosh, did Hammer just swindle this victory? He's threatening mate on f2 and on g2, everybody.
Yeah, I think he's... So he takes it, queen h3 check.
It may still be a perpetual here.
It looks...
Oh, he won on time!
Wow!
Oh my gosh, look at Hammer! He can barely contain himself. He had a big smile there. That was so adorable. And just like that, the magic happens. Everyone changes costumes behind the scenes. We have a brand new production quickly set up with information change because it's no longer Dominguez Perez versus Georg Meyer, nor is it Eric Hansen versus Jan Ludvig Hammer. It's Leinier Dominguez versus Jan Ludvig Hammer. In the finals for today, Robert, are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready. I mean, it's been a long day thus far, but it's only going to be more exciting as this final matchup comes to a close.
Let's do it. Games shall be started. And just like that, the first time control gets underway. As we know, we always come off of this high from bullet to blitz in this format. Or I say always, we've done it one time, which is today. It just feels like forever. Feels like you and I both, lost about 5 years on our life today. But but you still look good. Not as good as Hammer does. Hammer clearly refreshed himself after beating Eric Hansen, and the truth is he's going to need every bit of help he can get because he's going up a beast in the Cuban with 3 names. Now 2.
Well, I'm glad you finally understand how strong Dominguez is, particularly fending off opening theory with the black pieces and with the white pieces. Well, again, okay, we're not going to see any Frenches in this match, but he will be very challenging to fend off when he has the white pieces and gets his advantages out of the opening. So with the white pieces here, Dominguez trades off his dark sword bishop. His bishop didn't really have a great home. The b2 square is just hiding behind a d4 pawn. The d2 square does absolutely nothing. So he traded off his bishop on a3 and then he's just trying to develop naturally. Look at the queen and bishop on the diagonal, applies pressure on the king side. Now knight b5 is a big threat, in addition to winning a pawn by taking on e4. So here, Hammer needs to make a choice. And he can't just play a move like f5 or knight d7 to f6, because as I mentioned, knight b5 is a big threat. So he has to make a move like knight takes c3, and after queen takes c3, well, it's a normal position, but he's going to have to do something about his backward c-pawn for the time being. So
what you said.
Yeah, and I mean, and another annoying thing for black is that white always has this move bishop to f5, which hits the knight on d7, dislodges it from protecting the c5 square. If you go rook c8, bishop f5 also pins the knight on d7. So here a move like rook f to c1 or here on rook a c1. The point being that now rook to c8 is met by bishop to f5, which is quite powerful. So g6 is often a theme here. a5, trying to gain some space on the queen side. I like the move bishop f5 now for sure. Bishop f5 looks very natural and good. I guess bishop f5 can be met by moves like bishop a6. But yeah, either you can also take on c5 first. So bishop a6, dc5 immediately, and then just play rook fd1 and sort of continue like that. The point I'm trying to make after bishop a6 is to play pawn to c4 and hope that I get some queenside initiative.
I'm hoping that we continue to see this much of Mr. Dominguez's face. We lost a lot of him in the last show, but now we gave him some quick pointers and requested that he kind of find himself a new position. He seems comfy right there, resting in his hand. New home.
Yeah, he seems perfectly at home in this format too. So not only is he physically in good position, his chess has also been great, and he's up half a minute. So it's a good time to start thinking. He does take on c5 here. Point being, b takes c5, lost a pawn on a5, and so Hammer took back on c5 with the rook, which gets himself out of the pin of the bishop on f5, but at the same time leaves him with an isolated d pawn. So queen b2 played to keep the rook on c1 defended, and all right, takes, knight c5. So queen d4 here is one of many good moves. Queen to e5, offering a queen exchange, considering the better endgame. Then the idea is after queen e5, queen takes knight e5 to go knight d7. Trading knights in d7 allows the rook to infiltrate via c7. So all of these things seem to be pointing in white's favor. Here's queen e5.
Yeah, he's on the positional grind. Hammer is definitely on the worst side of this. But is it enough, really? Without a lot of pieces on the board to strangle the d5 pawn, Hammer may have enough to draw.
Yeah, and I guess an issue is bishop h3 is met with the move f5, which cuts off that bishop and stops the move knight d7. Knight d7 is a very, very powerful move, as I mentioned, just to attack, force a trade on d7, and then play rook c7. Here, now he brings the knight back to f3. He's going to go to d4. He can always go g3 and bring the bishop back in.
That's really what he has to do. But again, this all looks good, and the bishop is putting pressure on the d5 pawn. The isolated pawn is blockaded, but then how do you attack it? Where's the beef after that?
Yeah.
Typically, this is exactly the position you would not want to have in a middle game with an isolated pawn where you have no real counterplay. Your pieces are just sort of stuck guarding a weakness. But in an endgame position like this, where white lacks a little bit of firepower to maneuver his way to really putting any kind of substantial pressure, feels to me like black is in pretty good shape. And if you're Hammer, starting this match drawing with black would not be an unsuccessful way to do it.
Agreed. If I were Dominguez, I would consider, well, now it's harder to make happen, but I was going to consider playing a3 and b4.
Yeah,
just trying to kick this
dislodge
knight.
the knight.
So bishop c8, rook c8, a3. You could probably move your rook to, say, a8. That way you're prepared to meet b4 by capturing with the open a file. So
yep.
a3, rook a8, then king f1, for example. I mean, white still looks pretty good there. So g4 just getting...
it's actually a really nice move. It also has this sort of outside idea that the pawn may establish itself on g5, which don't underestimate what might be in the future if this h7 pawn becomes a backward target. So something like, okay, don't play king f2 because just, FYI. That would be a problem.
Yeah, not recommended.
But okay, if white can create the potential of some long-term problems over here, when we get into time scrambles, or even if not, there's always that outside chance of maneuvering and going after it. But 96 is smart. I think Hammer's just got his eyes set on a peaceful result, trying to draw the first game of this match, and I like it.
Yeah.
It would be crazy for me to say that Hammer's going to pull the upset and win this match, right? That would be bananas.
Considering you didn't even think you would take out Hansen, yeah, I think that would be pretty nuts.
Considering I picked Hansen to beat Hammer, and I picked Meyer to beat Dominguez, it would only make sense if I pick Hammer to win this match.
So you can be perfectly incorrect.
Perfectly incorrect, and have the chance of a crazy upset. But you're right. I mean, Dominguez-Perez is clearly, at least so far today, showing his class. Always interesting when you see GMs like Georg Meyer, who we just worship, lose a match like that, where honestly, despite that late run, I think it's fair to say it didn't even feel as close as the final score, right? It felt like Dominguez-Perez was in control that entire match, partly because of the French.
Yeah. No, Dominguez was kind of large and in charge throughout, even though his face was very small on the screen because
large and in charge, despite going snorkeling, as Chess Bay said. Well, we have a calm moment starting this match. Again, shout out to the legendary Chess Bay, all the fans that have been with us the whole time. Chess Bay, thank you for all your work. Everybody who's been here the whole time, our subs. I see Jackie the Swede, Distant Fire. Haven't given a lot of names. Many shout-outs today. Timothy Connolly, I did not mute you in any Lifetime or Parallel Universe, so I don't even know what you're talking about. You need to let it go, bro. Anyway, everybody who's been here, all of our premium members. There's New Jersey Greg. We love that guy. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thanks for all the subs, all the donations. Remember, we still have a chance to increase this prize fund a little bit for these guys that have made it to the finals, if you're into that sort of thing. Robert and I mean, I know we're tired, dude, but could we really imagine a better way to spend our... don't answer that. I'm sure you could imagine a better way to spend your Tuesday. Could you imagine a better series of chess matches? So both of these matches we had so far have been crazy good.
Well, I'm about to get into the nitty gritty of this ending because f5 check is the move to be played. If g5, king f4.
No, but
now
he just has to sit. As long as he doesn't take it, it's a draw, right?
Well, yeah, he doesn't want to take it because he needs to be able to do exactly what he's doing. Meet king f4 with king d6 on the spot.
Yep.
Now, if white could lose a tempo, he would be winning. But white does not have the ability to lose a tempo because if you go b4, I'll go a4. If you go a4, I'll go b4. And white's not in time to lose that tempo. They're both going to try to do a triangulation here, right? So king f3, king d7, but it doesn't matter because as soon as king f4 is played, king d6 is the response. So you need to somehow...
And if you guys hear the way Robert talks about that, again, I know we're here to commentate, and obviously we're trying to squeeze the educational nuggets out of these games, knowing that it is often blitz and bullet, and just we're here for the entertainment. What Robert just did there is actually very important. Again, that's part of how you handle complex king and pawn endings that you think are simple, but there's really there's a lot of landmine squares, right, Robert? Like if you go on the wrong square when it's the wrong person to move, you could lose an otherwise drawn endgame. So recognizing which squares you want to go to and the anticipating the triangulation of the kings, like you just said. Like if he's on g4, I go to d7. If he's on f4, I go to d6, right? All these sort of things. So I think that's really instructive. And honestly, you see a lot of endgames blown because people just don't take the time to properly establish what squares and where you need your king to be with whose move it is in the opposition to avoid being put in zugzwang. So me and ChessBay are related in spirit, if you're into that. In spirit, many past lives, that sort of thing. But no, we are not related by blood this lifetime. But me and Robert are. Robert, tell everybody the truth about us.
Yeah, Danny is my cousin. He's like the distant cousin that my family never talked about and shunned, but he's still my cousin.
Your best friends, lawyers, cousins, girlfriends, former roommate. That's who I am.
Exactly. But you're still someone I care about and think about sometimes. So, you still made your way. Look at Hammer. Hammer doing his best to clamp down on the queen side. Maybe that queen will go to b7 soon, which is a sneaky little square just to keep everything covered. If you're black here, you probably play queen d7. Queen d7, knight d4. Okay, knight e5, d4 hangs. So maybe that's not quite the move yet. But I'm trying to figure out how to coordinate from black's point of view. You want to connect the rooks. Rook c4 is a nice move, allowing knight e5.
And really, I mean, white is kind of the one potentially playing for two results here, right? At least it seems so with the c-file pressure. You look at this 2-on-1, and obviously you have to be aware of black's potential advantage to get a passer. But I like the c-file. Maybe I was jumping the gun on that. Maybe white's not. I mean, because e4 is a problem. You can't just double. You don't want to play e5 and give up the d5 square. So maybe it's not so straightforward for white to have a small edge.
So look at that by Hammer. He defends e4. Now d4 is the pawn you go after. So queen d7. The point is you don't have knight takes b6 there because queen takes d4 is check. So here queen d7. Follow that up with a move like rook to
D1.
c8 or d8 and just keep applying that pressure. I don't think black's doing badly here at all. Queen c8 is also a possibility here.
Yeah, I underestimated how difficult it was for white to quickly get on the open files, on the c file, and the squares because of having to defend these center pawns. First, you have to defend e4, but in doing so, by playing f3, you've now opened up the diagonal to the king. The d pawn's weak. So I agree.
With the queens on the board, that often favors black because of the exposed position of the white king. When I say exposed, you're like, what are you talking about? It's got a nice fortress in front of it. But some of the squares, for example, that queen can work its way to the e3 square. If those queens were traded, then white's king feels much safer. You still have equal number of pieces and pawns, and you try to make use of the fact that you have a strong center. Though in a lot of endgames, especially with control over the c file, black will just start trying to make use of the 2-on-1 majority on the B and A file. So
I mean, still, it's close to a peaceful result potentially, but yeah, as black has prevented white from being the first one to grab the queenside squares, despite what I predicted, black will be the one, I think, pushing for win. Although the other thing you have to watch out is if the queens came off the board, that d pawn could quickly become passed, right? You have to watch out for d5 if you weren't worried about opening up your king. That d pawn could become a pass pawn.
Right, definitely true. Knight d3.
I'm anticipating queen to c2 or queen to c3.
Then rook c1. That's his intention.
Again, I was testing you. Good job.
The thing is, moves like queen d8 even, or queen d7, of course, just go back to where it came from, makes sense.
But also, there's queen c2, there's rook c1, but queen c3 is also not bad.
Ooh, queen c3 is looking pretty decent there.
Right? Rook c1 doesn't work on queen c3 because we take with check, everybody. So.
And you get your favorite term of phrase, Czekalina Leszlamba.
Do I really?
Czekalina Leszlamba.
Oh, I didn't know if you knew how to pronounce that, but yeah, I'll show everybody the Czekalina Leszlamba that you highlighted.
Yeah, queen c3 played. So look at you playing like Dominguez. You learn a lot just by doing commentary with certain players. I mean that very since. No, I don't mean you personally. I mean in general. Like,
oh no, it really sounded like you were going the condescending route, which I totally respect and would have gotten. If you're not here to condescend Danny, what are you here for, honestly? But
yeah.
No, but you're right. No, you do. I feel like when you and I have done some of these Speed Chess Championship matches afterwards, you're like, wow, like can I play chess that way too? Is it that easy?
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, also, right now there's a tactic where b6 is not actually under attack because we trade everything on b6 and rook c1 check.
C1.
You have to lose the knight.
So he frees that, but now you do have to guard it. Probably rook c6 will be what he chooses.
No, queen e3 is possible as well because queen e3.
Queen e3 of rook c1.
Yep. But then you just go king h2, then I have queen f4.
The x-ray. No, but queen f4 check g3. You can't even take f3 without the rook hanging.
Yeah. But I can go knight g4 check there. I don't know if it works. It just felt cool. It doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all.
Cool guys don't look at explosions. They just sack the knight on g4 and walk away, man.
I was just try to get in your head, and it didn't work, so I'm going to...
No, I think he'll settle on rook c6.
Yeah, rook c6 is good. Even b5, just trading it with is probably not bad. I'm tempted to try to go for like knight h5 at some point soon, just to bring that knight into the f4 square.
So far, so good, though, for Team Hammer, right? He's up on time in this game. Doesn't really seem in danger of losing this one.
Yeah, agreed. I'm thinking about queen d4 as an alternative. If you take on b6, I have rook c1 check, king h2, like queen e5 check, forcing g3, and if I rook on c2 and try to use the second rank. But it should still be equal. It really depends on what Dominguez is.
I like your intuition here, actually. I'm getting the feeling with the fact that Dominguez is now about a minute and a half in that he's calculating something like this, too. Because it would make sense if you're going to try to win to go for a line like this. And oh, wait, rook d1 check.
Rook d1 check.
Wow, what a tricky way to try to overwhelm the pieces there.
Rook g3. Oh, I thought he was doing queen e3 check. All right, he does this and just makes it
settles on the draw. Yeah.
Okay. He did it for the fans there.
Yeah, show everybody the line there that was pretty sassy, pretty fancy, real quick. I'm not going to show you the line because the next game just started. But that move rook d1 was taking advantage. The rook couldn't take it because the queen would be lost and the knight was pinned. So eat your Wheaties, do your tactics. We're back to this. The same opening we saw in game one, same approach, one that put Hammer in a position where he was defending the worst side of an IQP structure, but one that clearly he felt confident that he was able to hold, and he did so. So we'll see if we get the same thing or who varies first.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision by Dominguez because unlike some of the repetitions we saw earlier by Hansen and by Georg Meyer, that actually Dominguez did get an advantage out of his opening choice. And here we see a6. So Hammer deviates first. Now knight e5 followed by f3 or something like that is very tempting. Knight to c3 or to d2, very possible.
I feel like this is something right out of the Karyakin playbook as white. Feels that way. White or black, honestly.
Yeah, so do you play rook ac1 followed by knight e2, or do you play knight e5 followed by f3/f4?
I probably go for the f3/f4 plan because I'm hoping for the opportunity to build some strength on the king side when maybe I can eventually... You might even try to go for e4, right? Can you do that?
I'm not trying to go for anything, honestly. I'm just happy to be here.
we can play f3 with the idea that we might eventually try to pry open the light squares. I'm a sucker for an e4 break.
Yeah, so f3 here, knight c3, queen c3, knight e5, d e5. Okay, he went f4 and
Showing the
ignored.
line. Something like this was what we were talking about, everybody, or at least what I was talking about, to try to pry open the light squares and create tactics. But alas, I am disappointed yet again. They say, forget you on the light squares, and I'm gonna anchor in e5.
That's not what I heard. I've heard it's forget you and forget her too.
Mm-hmm. No, it's actually, fun fact, CeeLo Green's original lyrics, forget you and the light squares too. Just,
Well,
little thing I know, so pro tip.
if we were richer, still would be with you.
Sometimes
Anyway.
I do think you're like a walking Glee song.
I'm a walking Glee song or
Yeah.
Gleason.
Glee song.
Okay. Well, I kind of wish I was. I'd be so much peppier.
Yeah.
So the question now is, does he take on e4? Okay, I was going to say.
What white wants is to get rid of this knight, and then I was going to say try to quickly get pressure on the c file before black gets c5, but hammer plays c5 right away. So that's what I was going to highlight, is that's why, you bring the knight back. You'd like to really try to use the half-open file while you can, but I still feel like white has the potential edge here, Robert, that at some point, if you can simplify by getting rid of this knight, you could have a good knight versus kind of a bad bishop on the light squares scenario, stuck to guarding the d5 pawn.
Absolutely agree. And I thought that rook ac1 instead of knight e2 was better, because the point is, if you play c5 too quickly, then white plays knight a4 and just dominates the c file, hits the b6 soft spot, and white has a phenomenal position. In fact,
that's a great idea. I'm showing that on the analysis board. I think that's a great point, that rook ac1, flipping the move order with the same idea would have been better for white.
Yeah, I mean, knight a4 is so nasty.
Yep, honey badger style.
Nasty.
You don't quite go full honey badger, like not like me when I'm saying he takes what he wants when he wants. Nasty.
I just know that I'm not as good as you at it, so I have to. Wait, what is this? Take on e4. So if he takes with the f pawn, queen comes to g4 maybe. He takes with that pawn, and now c4 is no longer an option for black, or maybe c4 isn't right now. But I was thinking of rook c1, you can't go c4. Who's better and why?
My instincts still like white again, I guess, because the knight, the pawns, but it's becoming weird, right? I mean, black might even have a g5 shot at some point.
Yeah, then g5 with the knight h5 you have to be concerned about.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. G5 is something to keep your mind on that side of the board.
Get your mind right.
Yes, sir. I wonder if he's going to reroute his bishop to d5.
I am a silly goose. Thank you, F1234K. Why? Look at value detectors in the house. I didn't see that guy till now. Yeah, Uncle Sasha's at the World Cup will not be visiting today during the official coverage of the Speed Chess Championship.
I thought for a second you really meant that Yermo was at the World Cup.
No, Uncle Sasha, not Uncle Yermo.
No. Well, I just wasn't sure for a second. It was kind of plausible that Yermo would be at the World Cup.
Freaky.
Yeah. So,
Got it.
Okay. So both sides are having their little passed pawns connected. Bishop a8. Huh? Okay, queen e3. Let's go rook c1, I guess.
Those two pawns could get. Yeah, he goes for it, but here comes knight h5.
And knight h5 looks great now.
There must be something with f4 coming quickly.
Yeah, but then queen h3.
Look at that, our first donation, and I think more than an hour, coming in hot. Aqualanga, I just like to call him the Aquaman. Thank you for the support. Bring in the total prize fund for today's players to $16.40. A little more cash in their pockets, they deserve it. But yeah, what has happened here? G5 and f4 came with Tempe, but all of a sudden it's like, can I have those pawns back? You know what the best move is here, Robert? G5 to G7. That's the best move for black.
Yeah, for real.
Like, seriously, black wishes he could just put that pawn right back on G7 right now.
Is queen h5? Queen h5, how do you protect g5?
I don't. There's
Yeah,
also
for-
d5, queen takes e5, and then d6, Robert. Quickly running the d pawn while the rook is overloaded to guard h7.
That's pretty nasty. And queen c8 check would come if you try to move your rook to the side.
Yeah.
D5 looks good.
Yeah,
There's
I like
played.
it. He goes for it.
Yeah, this is bad news.
Like you said, the more I hang around Sebastian, the more I appreciate that he's not such a bad chess player.
Yeah, he's kind of a boss.
He is kind of a boss. Yeah, this is really strong. Alec TV just subscribed. Thank you so much for the sub. Really appreciate. Actually, that was Chess Bay, bringing it to 66 total. She has, as I said on her 65th, she has surpassed the value of the chessboard. Puts you in God status, I think. Really, Alec TV's a Fortnite streamer, hanging out with us here on the Chess.com channel. Appreciate it.
Oh. See, which Chess Bay said in a Fortnite stream, we've adopted him. Like, did you just beat him 10-0? That's not very nice.
She beat him 10-0 in a game of a bunch of chess games. Right when Hikaru was adopting Hansen, she was adopting Alec.
The queen just went to c2, Danny.
Yeah, but queen h5 is just lights out still.
Ooh, queen h5. The move I suggested earlier looks pretty good.
The longer this goes, the stronger I'm getting and the weaker you're getting. I'm just putting it out there, buddy.
Queen h5 is just an excellent move.
It's just over.
Is it?
Dominguez is taking his sweet, sweet time here.
What if e3 here?
Don't tell me e3 works. Don't tell me e3. Whoa, it maybe does. Queen e8 check, king g7. Does the king run out? To the back cave.
The king runs.
To the analysis board. He's getting out. Knight h5 check, king h6, and there's nothing to it.
Then there's queen e... Nope, that doesn't work. Queen e6 to h3.
Oh my gosh, did Hammer just swindle this victory? He's threatening mate on f2 and on g2, everybody.
Yeah, I think he's... So he takes it, queen h3 check.
There may still be a perpetual here.
It looks... Oh, he
won on time!
Wow!
Oh my gosh, look at Hammer! He can barely contain himself. He had a big smile there. That was so adorable. I rarely ask for clips anymore, but will somebody please clip that?
Did you see that fist pump? He is hype now.
Dude, he pumped his fist and he was holding back a smile. It was awesome. He should be pumped, dude. He's leading the match against Dominguez Perez. Say what?
Oh my gosh!
Wow!
And you got to give credit to Yoon, because Yoon flew out to the Pro Chess League finals in San Francisco. Yeah. He's a huge supporter of Chess.com. He does a lot of streaming.
Well, he's just a huge supporter of chess and things that move the needle. And I mean, Hammer again brought himself to San Francisco just to be a part of the first ever esports chess event. So
yeah, that was really special. He just wanted to be there. He took in the action. He had a great time. He was really excited by the match format, and he's a huge chess fan, and chess is a huge fan of his. So
he's also taller than me now. When I first met him, he was such a short little Norwegian kid. And now he's tall.
Oh, that was unreal.
We're in the same structure we were before that ultimately ended in a draw, though. Looks like it'll be a slightly different tempo this game. White kind of being a little more aggressive here on the king side now.
I wonder if Dominguez is capable of tilting.
Mari Yushev says in the chat, who was the guy that said Hammer had zero chance of winning this again?
Who was that?
Hikaru. He's calling out.
Oh,
Hikaru.
yeah. I didn't remember his name. Sorry. That was pretty epic. But I don't know if Dominguez is the type to go on tilt. He just seems like a very
no,
calm
he's
guy.
not. He's the type to be just surgical, pathological in his execution of victory. So Hammer's, I mean, he's not going to beat himself. He hasn't beaten himself yet. Hammer's beat him, but Hammer's going to have to continue to do it. Dominguez is not going to beat himself in this match.
Yeah, although Dominguez did kind of go all in that last game and paid the price dearly.
Yeah, that was a shocking one because also, again, he did swindle that victory. It really felt like Black was up against the wall. So.
Yeah, but he was being resourceful. He went G5. I mean, that was craziness, but got to give him a little bit of credit.
Yep.
It paid me to do, but Yoon.
So we have one more 5-minute game, I believe. There have been 2 draws and 1 victory. So this is game 4. Game 5 is up after this, everybody, before we move in to the 3-minute portion, again, to remind all of you, a set format, unlike the traditional SCC where they are racing against the clock. Here they are playing 5 games of 5, 5 games of 3, and then 10 games of bullet, or the first player to reach 10.5 points and win the match clear out of 20 games.
Jules Lop, whatever, it said, wait, so was Hansen knocked out? Yes. Hansen was knocked out.
Hansen was knocked out by Hammer, who's currently leading against former north of 2750. He's 2740 still.
Yep. By Ludvig.
Leinier, Dominguez, Perez. If we can update our template here, we would show that we have the Cuban with 3 names taking on the Norwegian with 3 names. Leinier, Dominguez, Perez, Ludvig, Hammer. Shout out to the one and only Triple Gaffel for the sub. Really appreciate it.
Oh, Moobot sends a really cute message when someone subs. That's so sweet.
Moobot's the best, and ChessBay's the best for setting up Moobot. I would venture a guess that ChessBay has set up more Moobot, Nightbot support in the Twitch community than, well, I can't say any moderator. I don't know all other moderators out there, but she holds it down. She locks it down.
Speaking of locking it down, that
Look
D6
at that.
square.
I was going to say that D6 square is about to be in lockdown. You took my. That's what I do. I roll in from an unnecessary pop culture reference to chess, but you did it.
I sort of like Black's position, though. I'm a fan of 2-on-1 on the queen side. Rook C1 runs right into knight E2 check, which is a big blunder. You have to move your rook somewhere
D2.
else. Let's say rook
D2 or D3. Ooh,
well, he went rook
A1.
A1.
Maybe he's going to run the A pawn. Interesting.
Well, bishop D5 solves that.
He still has A4 though. I mean, okay, I think this is actually even better. Rook C1 challenge the open file, but
what about knight F4 here?
Knight F4, King F1, just guard
Knight
E2.
D3, maybe.
Trade and then King D3. Sorry, trade and then King E2.
Yeah, I'm trying to find any way to get an advantage there. I feel like Black should be better because the queenside majority and the fact that Knight has this great outpost in D5, but maybe it's
I
not
agree.
so.
Well, also the D pawn being weak is potentially an issue for White, but I think this knight on D6 is more irritating than it looks like, right? Normally an outpost without a lot of help doesn't do much, but this knight actually has constant threats of going to C8. In fact, it's actually a threat right now. Maybe. Almost.
Yep.
And also, if White can shove the A pawn and create new avenues in, then that knight on D6 may have some helpers coming for something in the long run. So, a 2-minute time advantage for Hammer, a 1-game lead in the match. Don't tell me I can't pick the upset here. Don't tell me I can't do it. Here it comes, knight C8. No.
And Knight C8, Knight B5.
Knight C8, knight B5. Yep. Now knight C8 is still possible, but again, then just A5.
Yeah, he'd probably go A6 just to keep. I mean, that king is trying to sprint over to A6, right? Like king, but King E2 is always in by Knight C3 check.
No, but you can go for it though. King E2, Knight C3, King D2 takes, and then Knight to C8, and you do get your pawn back.
Oh, that's kind of tempting.
He doesn't.
But I mean, A3 is a good inclusion to just sprint the king over. Because how is Black's king going to get out, right? Like King F8 can't go to E7 because Knight C8 check.
Yep.
So you got to figure your stuff out here.
Dominguez, he's back to drowning. Get that man a snorkel. There he is.
Yeah, he is sinking.
The king. Okay, so one issue if the king tries to run is the knight will eventually come to F4. Not even necessarily of a check on E2, but if King E2 and let's say Black plays King F8, if the king ever goes to D2 or D3, Black will play Knight F4, forking the G2 and H3 pawns. So, okay, so he stops that. Very nice.
Yeah, King E7 now. He'll play F6 or F5 and then King D7. So F5.
You can play King C4 here, though, and there's an outside trick of Knight takes F5 if he misses it.
You're sneaky.
You know, I've been sneaky.
Well, he went G6, so there's no tricks now.
Value detector wants to know why I root for Croatia in the World Cup.
Why do you root for
The
Croatia?
Turtles are from Ljubljana.
Yeah, which is not Croatia.
I know, that's what I'm saying. That's not Croatia. That's Lithuania, right?
No.
Sorry, where is it?
I'm not giving you this answer. Come on, Danny. Use your
Serbia.
mind.
I should know
No,
this.
Slovenia.
Slovenia is the same thing.
Whoop.
Just
You
kidding.
don't want to open that can of worms.
I was just kidding. I know where Luka Doncic is from. Okay.
Yeah, where's Luka Doncic from?
Ljubljana, isn't he? Isn't he Slovenian? No?
I'm not telling you. I'm just leaving you in suspense.
Or is he You're killing me, Robert. No, I was just kidding. I was just kidding. The Turtles, I know what you're saying, value detector. I get it. I love it. Everyone calm down. I really let the dogs out with that last Slovenia and Serbia are the same thing.
Yeah, that was not wise.
The donkey. That's right.
Hey, Danny, I have a question for you.
What's up, dog?
Have we seen this opening before?
Maybe once or twice.
But I feel like it's going well for Dominguez until a certain moment where it stops going well.
Yep.
I mean, that wasn't
just
very,
subscribed herself. Chessbase subscribing for 7 months. Danny, you should reconsider. No, she's saying she should reconsider her life choices. No, I don't think so. I think your life choices are rocking. I should consider some of my life choices for sure. But okay, look, we got a knight on c6. That's new.
Wait, is there bishop e4? Can I just take the pawn?
Yeah, Hammer just leaned back and pulled his hair out. I think he's just, yeah, he's just shaking his head like. Well, I called it. I said knight c6 was new. I didn't say it was good. Most novelties are bad. Don't forget it.
Yeah, so that was really bad. It just gives a pawn away. But Hammer is also very demonstrative. Like he does not hold anything back.
No, he's wearing it on his sleeve. We like that.
Yeah, just look at his face. He looks so startled. His eyes are huge. I'm just looking at him right now, and he just is not a happy camper. But poor Mr. Ludvig, he is up a game in the match, and this is a moment where you can't go on tilt. Even if you lose this game, which he should, because he's down a pawn.
Yep.
You just got to calm yourself.
Yep.
Keep the nerves good. Chill out. Be like, hey, I'm playing this super duper strong player, and I was up a point, and with the white pieces, he managed to. I guess it's frustrating because it's not like Dominguez deserved it in that sense. It just was a terrible.
Well, it's not like it's over yet.
Yeah, I agree, but it's not good for Black.
Value detector wants Luka Doncic back.
Who wants Luka Doncic back?
Value detector.
Why?
Just I don't know, because I made fun of Ljubljana, Serbia, Slovenia. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I love that comment. Distant Fire says Leinier is holding his head well. I just think that's funny. He sure is holding his head well. Now we got the opposite problem. We're losing the forehead. Before we know it, we're going to lose the unibrow.
And right now, speaking of losing, so it's just one pawn. Black has compensation, kind of. The light square bishop is good on b7. There's none in opposition for white. But still, a pawn is a pawn.
Yeah, but okay, you're calling it like it's death. I mean, black is worse and down a pawn. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, Hammer is kind of.
Look at Hammer. His head is in his hands. Now Jay Hammer over there is he's at least fixed his posture a little bit.
Yeah. Well, after this, we will be immediately moving into the 3-minute portion. So for those of you who said 5 minute is too slow, we want bullet back. We are well on our way. And right now, Hammer is exasperated mainly because, again, it's not just that he's down a pawn. He doesn't really have any compensation here. White is prepared to take on c5 and either just straight up win another pawn or just at least create a new target. Taking on d4 would just let the position simplify even further. Trade on d6. Take back on d4. So not a lot to analyze here. Somehow we got to 1641, which means somebody donated $1 that I missed shouting out. So thanks for that love to the prize fund.
Is it just me, or has Hammer not moved in a long time?
Yeah, he's thinking.
What do you think he's thinking about?
What do you think he's thinking? I don't know. The chess position?
I don't know. This role reversal and these types of questions has clearly caught you off guard.
Totally. Okay, he
You're
does
just
take it. We're going to get the trade and the simplification. Knight will take back, and this knight on a5 is still not ideal. But I think this was the best choice, Robert, because in all seriousness, yes, he should lose this. Yes, he's worse, but he's got the bishop on this diagonal. The only pawn he's down is on e3, active play. Maybe he makes White's life a little difficult converting it.
No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely not dead loss. The extra pawn is an e3 pawn, which for the time being you can't make great use of. That queen can go over to a3 for black. So queen g3, for example, can be met by queen a3. So I definitely was not trying to imply, even though I was being very strong about in my words, that Hammer's just resigned. No, he's actually putting up some good resilience already. And yeah, there's a problem with this a3 square in particular.
Yeah, I actually really like that point, and so critical, everybody, because it is the only open file. If you control this c1 square, you're going to make White's life really hard, and all of a sudden this queen on h3 is feeling more and more out of play.
Yeah, that queen needs to get back into more useful territory very shortly. So
whoa, huge shout out there. $28 donation from Timothy Connolly. Thank you so much. You've been here all day, man. Thanks for your sub. Thanks for your support of these chess professionals. Thanks for raising the prize fund. I really like Hammer's chances, and look at now all of a sudden the tables are turning. Dominguez is going into the think tank a little bit. Plays a4 to prevent queen a3, though. I like it.
Someone just asked, are the normal donations going to the prize fund, or do you have to donate somewhere other? No, everything you donate here is going to the prize fund. So the donation, for example, that Timothy B. Connolly just gave is for the players and the players only. Ooh, queen b4. That's a nice
all
spot.
donations, everything earned here, going to the players here today.
Okay, so now the knight can come to e4. So the knight c6 allows
knight
knight
f6 check. Ooh.
Yeah, I would.
Very nice.
Why
Uncle
there?
Sasha almost visited just there, but I held him back.
Knight e4 looks so promising.
Yeah, I wonder why he didn't. I mean, the main point, everybody, is that if the knight took on d4, it wasn't just my knight f6 comment. It was that the rook can take actually with tempo on the queen.
Yep.
And then the knight comes to f6 if you're not careful. So I agree with you. I think knight e4 was better. He's got knight f5 now, though.
Knight f5.
Kind of weird
bishop,
and tricky.
Bishop e6 maybe, and I just sort of.
I guess it's just a check on h6. That's what you're telling me. Nothing else.
Yeah,
to
you might just lose your knight. Actually.
Yeah, queen guards h4. My bad. Whole board awareness. Chess Bay just donated $330.
Chess Bay is a legend.
That just happened.
I don't even know what to say.
OMG. That just took the prize fund up a significant amount.
Well, both these players, they're actually probably not even as focused on the prize fund as they are as qualifying. I mean, that's a way bigger deal to them because as chess players, it's always great to be able to fight up against some of the top players in the world. So, a win in this event will allow them to play the likes of Hikaru Nakamura or MVL or someone of that nature.
Yeah, but obviously there's already been players eliminated today, and all the money earned goes to them as well. So that's just like a huge, huge, huge gesture. Chess Bay, I love you. We love you. You're amazing. Thank you so much. Somebody's going to take this thing over 2,000 as far as the total pot goes. I think she does everything deliberately in a very generous way. So I think she's calling for somebody else to take it over 2,000. So thank you so much, Chess Bay.
Chess Bay is the best, especially when she calls herself Hespe when I'm streaming.
Hespe. Where is the Hespe emote? I'm sure that's my fault. Don't yell at me, Chess Bay. Yeah, we got the Hespe emote coming.
Wait. What happens after rook b1 here? Rook b1, queen d2, knight takes b3, queen c2. Wow. So
amazing. Amazing.
Dominguez is no longer winning. Hammer should be exceptionally proud of himself right now.
How did he defend that? Seriously, he went from down a pawn, just kind of like we're calling a hey, what's he doing? And he's going to draw this one. Thank you so much. We just got another $5 donation there, bringing it up even higher. We are now officially over the $2,000 mark for all the players today. Thank you so much.
But Chessway is not happy about it because she wanted to have 1999 so we could party like it was 1999.
Yep. Nothing like it. Oh, he just missed Queen takes b5, and now he's shaking his head. But does he realize he has h4? Oh, he just smiled. That was hilarious. Did you see that?
That was amazing. I did.
That was so funny, and now he's laughing at himself. That was hilarious. Oh, there's nothing like the honest look of somebody who thinks they blundered, and then they're just so thankful that they didn't. We now officially moved to 3-minute chat. That was so funny.
I can't get enough of Hammer's reactions.
I love his reactions. Look at that. We move into 3-minute. Thank you so much. We just had another sub, $6.15, bringing it to 2010.15. I'm not sure if that's a message. Freaky, you're awesome. Jay Holden, you're awesome. Thank you so much for the love, everybody. It's been a long day, and it is just amazing to have you all here showing your support. And this match, dude, if I told you Hammer takes a 1-game lead into the 3-minute portion, I mean, what would you have done? I mean, hopefully you wouldn't have slapped me or anything. But
are you about to make an ESPN 30 for 30? Because you're like, what if I told you?
What if I told you, right? I mean, this is Jeremy Schaap. Jeremy Schaap.
Hammer has been impressive. That was,
yeah.
I think I was most impressed by that last game. I know he won a game earlier.
Right, but you're right. He blundered, but he persevered. I agree.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's because he lets his emotions out there. You know, he is honest with himself.
Yep.
When he's upset, he cries a little bit and then gets over it. And, you know, he saw him I cannot believe when he blundered b5, he reacted like that. And then he's like smiling.
I know, but he held, and they just quickly agree to a draw.
What?
I guess Leinier is sort of happy to have the draw with black from a chess perspective. I guess Hammer's thinking, well, remember what Hammer said against Hansen. He said he felt that Hansen was actually the favorite in blitz, but that he wasn't going to lose the match in bullet. I wonder if he feels the same way against Dominguez Perez here. Is he that confident in his bullet skills that he just wants to get to bullet and then he feels like he can pull the upset?
Well, 1 second, because Prof said, I'd pay a lot to see Danny slapped, and that really just caught me off guard, and it's hilarious. But to answer your question, I do think Hammer has increased confidence in his bullet skills. I mean, especially today, he was down 10-8, and he won 3 in a row. So he's got to be confident there. Of course, Dominguez is the stronger player. So, you know, in the blitz section, if he can minimize the damage, and in this case, he's up a point, that is great for him.
Yep.
But if I'm Dominguez, also I'm practical, right? I'm like, okay, I was just black. If I make a draw by repetition, am I upset about it? Not really. I'll get him with the white pieces.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there looking to, if they were told that if we reach, you know, how high does it got to get for Danny to get slapped? Am I willing to take one to the face for these chess players?
No,
I don't know if I am. But
so
I mean, who's delivering the slap?
Yeah, that's a great question. Wait, did he just blunder another pawn? Hammer?
Hammer's shaking his head. He did, yeah.
Hammer's been blundering pawns a lot with the black pieces.
Yep.
Wait, who's giving Hammer disrespect? Someone goes, Chessplay goes, Hammer's pretty strong at chess. I really don't know where all his disrespect comes from. He gets distracted while streaming. I guess people are trashing Hammer's skills or something. But
no, I mean, I don't think it's disrespectful to Hammer. I think we have a whole bunch of super, super strong grandmasters in this. So I think that it's easy in hindsight for us to say that, oh, well, Hammer was underrated. I mean, the truth is he was down 2 games against Eric Hansen and should have lost that match. Okay? Like, Hansen choked away the final 2 games. So, and not to say he doesn't deserve it and that Hammer is not a super, super... Every single one of these guys is a stud, Robert, right? It's just the way, it's just like with media. Everyone, you read into more. The bottom line is every single one of these guys deserves to be here. We invited them all for a reason. And I don't think it's unfair that a lot of people believed Hammer was the underdog. You also had Hammer as an underdog against Hansen, just as I did.
Oh, yeah. And it was as close a match as it could possibly come.
And
right?
it literally came down to the wire, and he pulled off an epic comeback. So, but don't get me wrong. I'm rooting for the upset here, not because I think Dominguez Perez has a real legitimate shot of getting past the first round of the SCC, should he get there today.
For sure, because he's not even the lowest rated player, right?
Absolutely.
He's somewhere.
No, absolutely, yeah. So, but right now I'm rooting for the upset. How can you not be rooting for Hammer right now? A little bit.
Yeah, I root for nobody because I'm a commentator, so I have to be unbiased, but I see what your point is.
Don't judge me right now, okay? Obviously, what you and I are rooting for is the same thing we're always rooting for. A close match. Something to talk about.
Well, this game, White is still up a pawn, so the pawn that Hammer blundered early on is still lost. The queen has come to a3, so similar to ideas in the last game, where his queen clogs the queen side. And the problem for Black is his bishop on b7 is particularly useless. White's knights just really do a great job of keeping Black totally at bay. But where does White make the progress? Right, you are up a pawn.
b4.
So what if bishop takes d4 now?
Bishop takes d4. Knight takes d4. If you
queen b4.
Take on b4. Do I have queen c7? Is that the idea?
Then I have knight e5 or something like that. Knight c5 rather.
Well, Dominguez is leaning in, so whatever he calculated about before, he's about to have to prove it.
I think he made a mistake, but...
Snedgman just donated $50, our second biggest donation of the day. Thank you so much. You guys are really pushing the envelope here, pushing the needle for these guys.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I think that's what he was going for, was this queen c7 idea, but now what?
I was trying to say if knight c5, maybe there's a queen e7, which was kind of filthy looking, but...
Yeah, that would have been nice. Okay, but it's equal material. You know, in many ways, what Dominguez did there was just kind of get rid of Black's bind by sacrificing that b-pawn, and suddenly the tables have turned. He's the one with pressure on the king side, trying to create more counterplay. a3, trying to overload the queen, who has to keep her eye on the bishop.
Yeah, just push the pawn to a5, which gives you ideas of the queen to b6.
Trading into an endgame with a strong pass b-pawn.
Although right now, queen b6 would run to take, and then knight d7, losing the pawn, and giving Black a strong pass a-pawn in return. So, let's see. g3 is a smart move. Maybe bishop to h3? The problem for Black is your bishop on b7 is terrible. Now knight e6 check just wins, right?
Sorry, I was distracted. Chess Bay gifting her 67th sub to Stejman. Ha. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, this is also really strong. Bishop e6 might be even stronger.
Yeah, bishop e6 hitting f7, and you can't really trade.
Oh, Hammer, did you see that look?
He just looked at...
Oh, he just like threw his head back and was really angry at himself. He missed the idea.
Yep.
Yeah, this is really bad for Black.
He has to take it, though, anyway.
Yeah, you have to take it, but now knight g5 is, or knight d8 actually is a double attack on the b7, bishop on the pawn f7, and even if not for knight d8, and knight d8 wins, but knight d4 back, and you just have a very strong knight against a very weak bishop. But I would certainly rather wooden material with a move like knight d8. So knight d8.
Yeah, knight d8 is just really nice.
Yeah, knight d8, d4. You just take on f7, then take on b7, and say, okay, I'm up.
Whoa!
What?
J Beast just donated $15. Thank you, J Beast. I guess he can still rinse and repeat, but why in the world did he not play knight d8?
Because he's going to slow play it. Now he's just winning material. Where's that king going? Queen e8 now. Queen e8. Do it.
Attacking both the bishop and the pawn. Get your fork emotes out.
Queen b7 only move, and
Old
after queen b7,
fork.
you have no next move.
The donations are pouring in now. Thank you, Ghetto Porridge. Thank you, everybody. I guess I'll bring the bar back up so people know exactly where we're at, but you've all been amazing.
Nigel Short, king
Nigel
march
Short,
happening.
king walk. Bring it to g5 and drop the mate, but don't get mated along the way. f6.
Hammer made that move with like a second left.
If
Queen-
Hammer somehow doesn't lose this game, it would just really feel like his day, because what in the world just happened? Okay,
96 to where?
Okay, he still wins because of the time, but Hammer made that a lot closer than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it should never have been that close. Hammer's upset with himself for flagging, but that should never have been that close.
Yeah, no, he defended for a long time, and I'm not even sure that Dominguez didn't miss numerous wins there, but wow.
Kevin Chess 86 in the Chess.com TV chat goes, guess who puts the Hess in chess? That is original.
Amazing. Phenomenal.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah.
Have we seen this position before?
Doesn't ring a bell. But yeah, now he plays f3 earlier. Every time is a little bit different. At least it's a little more interesting than the French. I got to say that.
Yeah.
This is a marathon, Distant Fire. You're right. This is quite the marathon. And I think we've gotten the best we could have hoped for. Scheduling 3 matches back to back to back. It would really be painful if it was a marathon of slaughters. At the very least, these guys have really kept us on the edge of our seats with close matches.
For sure. No, this has been great. I mean, 11-10 for Hammer over Hansen, 11-9 for Dominguez over Meyer.
Yep.
And here we have 3.5, 3.5. There's been no runaways.
Tie game, and we're almost halfway through. So,
all right, so watch out for this f7, e6 squares, because at some point, White may consider a sacrifice. But now with the knight retreating back to g4,
I like it.
Can you go rook c3? Okay, rook c3 was definitely an option.
You're tempting me to play f4. He doesn't want it, but I wanted it.
So d5, idea being if take pawn, e d5, bishop d5, rook d5, g5 is under attack, though that's not super scary. If bishop takes d5 now, you don't even have to take on d5. You can make a useful in-between move.
Maybe
knights
start to activate the king, I was going to say.
Yeah, knight c5 is a useful move for sure.
Okay, again, we've had this endgame before. Black has the 2-on-1, and with it, potentially long-term winning chances if you can get a passed pawn. But I feel like we're a bit of a broken record here because White has found a way to create counterplay every time. What's the idea behind 95? I'm not really thrilled with that move. Black's going to bring the king to e7. No. I guess 95 is actually kind of irritating. You don't play f6 because of the knight popping into g6. You can't play king e7 as long as f7's falling.
Right. And what Black really wants is White to take on b7 so that the knight can go to e6 and over to f4.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he's going to try for that idea anyway. If he could take on e6 with the rook, he might go for knight e6 next move.
Yeah, you got to move this knight away from e5, don't you?
Yeah. Tempo.
If the rook was on f1, you could play a move like f4 and try to be super sneaky. It's not a good move. But the idea was that somehow like knight g6 check and break open the f-file.
Yeah, something crazy.
I'm just trying to make a dry position wild, you know?
You know what? That's why they hire you for that DVD series, making dry positions wild.
oh boy.
Oh man. So takes now. If rook takes, Hammer's going to bring the knight from c4 into d6. Interesting.
Ooh.
Takes the knight versus bishop in balance.
So is he going to go f5 here and then reroute the knight to f6? Oh, f5, you take it. I thought the bishop was hanging. Never mind.
That was a strange decision, to be honest. I mean,
h4. He could have just went king g4 and then forced the move f6. And f6 is not a move that Black generally wants to play with that bishop on d5.
No, I agree. And especially if you can continue to infiltrate on the light squares. So that was... I've been a little bit skeptical of both sides here. I don't know that the transition of the knight for the bishop is really improving winning chances for Black, but But okay. An active knight can compete with a bishop in an open board scenario, but it feels like it just helped white to kind of untangle.
Wait, rook h7 here?
Rook h7, g6.
Then rook takes f7?
Aha. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, rook c5 is played. Now here comes rook h7.
Or I'll just go rook h8. I'm not sure. Okay, rook h7 first makes sense because now rook h8. You put the king on the 6th rank, which means rook b8 is threatening rook b6 with a check. Wait, just rook h8 here, and rook b8 next, and rook b7 after, and you're in trouble. Big, big trouble. Rook h8, do it. Rook h8, he'll go b5.
Well, it's going to happen anyway because he plays rook h8. Here comes b5.
Wait a second. This bishop's a little bit uncomfortable now.
Yep, and that a pawn is coming fast. In fact, you can even play. I think he's probably calculating a4 right now.
Yeah, a4 or rook takes b5. Now rook c5.
Yeah, he decides this is the safer option rather than
actually rook b4
going into a pawn race.
Rook g5 check at any moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, look out for a weird rook g5.
He could have started with rook g5. So now this, if the knight could be on e2, it would just be devastating.
Yeah. The knight may also try to come into d1 and e3 with a similar idea, but
that would be sneaky. Knight d1 was a good move.
He didn't see it.
What a strange move. Knights are so funny.
Yeah.
Whoa. What is that?
He wants e5.
What about knight d5 here? If e d5, rook c3.
Wow. Knight d5, e d5, rook c3, pick back the piece, and probably have a winning rook ending. But again, he doesn't see it. Feels like Dominguez is struggling a little bit with this time pressure here.
So watch out for e5 check, and if like the bishop gets a b5, rook e8 checkmate ideas. But it's not. The knight at c3 covers very well. So my idea was like, if e5, king e7, bishop b5, you couldn't take my bishop, then I'm threatening to mate you on the e8 square.
Yep. Okay, he goes to f5, but again, it feels like a lot of time is being wasted here. What about rook takes a5 now? He throws in check first, which is smart, and maybe he'll play g3. Just kind of... Yeah, I like that, actually, even though it allows him to save the a-pawn. I think this is a chance for Hammer to get a win. I mean, with the time pressure that black is under, now the white king starts to run up. King g4. Yeah,
and that a-pawn's going... The a-pawn's going nowhere.
Let's go.
Watch out for rook d3, though. Rook d3 hitting g3 would be a potential issue.
Okay, now bring the bishop back to a... Okay, it goes to a2.
Rook d3 check. a3 comes. a3. Or
Even
that.
better.
Rook takes
Much better, actually.
Oh, rook takes a4
Hammer's
now.
in trouble.
Nah.
He's going to have to bail out, settle on the piece.
Don't go f5.
Yeah, f5 would have allowed g5, everybody, and Bob's your uncle. Okay, even still, there's potential for Bob to be your uncle if that knight comes to f5. Okay, we have a draw, and
but only white can win this, so play on forever.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Only white can win in a dead draw, but yes. This is...
With 3 seconds left on your clock, you might flag even. Dominguez is getting awfully close. So they both are, actually.
Yeah, actually. It's... Again, this is a Philidor draw, everybody. The king is in front of the pawn. And as soon as that pawn pushes like that, you want to bring the rook down and start unleashing the checks. This is not the right way to draw, but it doesn't matter. Okay. He should still have enough.
Yeah, he has the rook g7 check.
Fine.
He was cutting it close there.
Yeah. That's it's dangerous the moment you get exactly that type of scenario where your king is on the back rank. It's the only way you could lose that, but rook g7 check, that's a theoretical trick to put in that database in your head. Oh man. A slightly new version of this opening?
Yeah, no longer a trade with the Dark Star Bishops.
All right. Look at that.
Yeah, and the thing is, white now can play b4 at any moment, kick the bishop to d6. So he saves it up. Let's c4 first. That way, d4, knight c4, threatening b4 to trap that bishop. So knight c4. Bueller. Okay, so a5 to stop b4 makes sense. But now the b6 pawn is a little bit weak. Bishop d4 ideas come into play.
Yeah, I like this idea a lot. If this trade
bishop d4,
happens, that's a problem.
Yeah, bishop d4, maybe knight c6.
There's knight takes b6, though, right? Like an x-ray sort of idea. I guess knight takes d4, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about.
Okay. But all right, no, a5 is obviously a move that is needed to slow down white's play, but has potential consequences here. So let's keep our eye on that, everybody.
So knight e5 is kind of a sneaky move because now if you go knight c6, I go knight c6, bishop c6, and make queen c2.
That's what's
threatening
gonna
bishop
happen.
takes f6, which hangs h7, and also threatening knight takes b6, which hits the bishop on c6 and c5.
Yep.
So maybe that's a possibility.
It's exactly what he's going to go for, and very, very quickly calculated there, partner. Nice work. Yeah, here comes queen to c2 again, everybody. Ooh, he doesn't go for it, but
I don't think it actually nets anything for white because queen c2, you could play h6, and if knight b6, there's like bishop takes g2, and everything's kind of getting crazy.
yeah.
But
Still, definitely an interesting try. And you could argue that taking g2 and then trying to use the g file is not a bad idea on that line. So, but okay. They settle on something that remains symmetrical in terms of the structure. White has to protect the mate on g2. That's a good move, and he'll take back with the pawn and overprotect these squares, everybody, leaving that knight on the strong e5 post. So I like this for white.
yeah, and a lot of players would be reluctant to give themselves double pawns.
He just
but the
blundered a
double
piece. Knight d7 blundered a piece because the bishop takes h7, and Hammer just smacked his fist down. And
Wow, he is fuming.
Fuming.
I don't think I've ever seen
Everything about the position we evaluated was headed the way. Okay, white had a small edge, but black was in a decent position to hold, and then knight d7 just blunders away the entire game because of this discovered check. Any other move, okay, not any other move, but many other moves, black is still totally within holding distance here, even though white has a small edge.
Yeah, that's a shame.
That's a real shame. And it's going to be the first lead of the match for Dominguez Perez, assuming he gets this game. You're talking about the first lead in the match.
And people are Timothy B. Connolly saying, "Clip that." I really think that feels bad, man, is the right time. This is I do feel bad. That
does feel bad. Well, and clearly he's dejected. He's trying to.
Georg says he looks almost like he's crying in the chess.com/TV chat.
Well, he's clearly frustrated, and I don't think he's crying. I think it's just anger. And Georg, I thought you went to bed, young man. I sent you to bed with a nightcap.
Honestly, though, this is a good time to just lose on time, because if you need to regain your composure, right, instead of going straight into the next game, you just lose on time. That way, you take this time. You know that the game's already over.
Yeah.
Refresh your mind. Say, I get white pieces. I can even the score heading into the bullet. So if I'm Hammer here, I'm really just losing on the clock. Like, I know it may seem disrespectful, but in a match where you don't get any time in between games, it's absolutely the right strategy.
Well, or whether you lose on time or not, at least just take a step back, let the clock run, right? If you end up resigning with 10 seconds left, that's one thing. Right now, Hammer decides there's a last-ditch opportunity to maybe manufacture some counterplay on the light squares. But no, I don't think Dominguez is going to allow that. Here he has h4, which is what I would play very quickly.
Or rook f4, one of those moves just to kick this bishop out.
Mm-hmm. All roads leading to Rome, where you should be up in exchange. I think we're going to take a tiny break as we transition from blitz into bullet here. Not longer than 30 to 60 seconds, but
all right.
The players have requested a quick break, although we still have, I think, one more game after this, right?
Yeah, so we have one more game, and then they'll get their break before the bullet, right?
Yep. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
poor hammer.
Yeah, knight d7. Just a brain gaff. Definitely relatable, Snedgeman. Right? We all blunder. Some of us do it more than others.
Yep.
But you know,
Rook a4. Wait, what's that?
something keeps hitting my microphone.
What is
I'm
that?
not sure what that is.
No, not that. What is rook a4 allowing this rook to g5? Oh, he's trying to come for a perpetual rook g5 check. He's trying to mate him, actually.
Yep.
So let's see. How do you get out of this?
Yeah, I think he should have played h4 when I said.
I mean, h4 now actually is just winning. h4, all right, this move order too. Take first and play.
But there's a check on g5 and then bishop f3 mate if he blunders it.
I don't know what mate there was, but it scared me. Just hearing the words mate from you scared me. I'm actually not kidding at all. I heard mate and I was like, what am I missing?
Yep.
Always possible.
Sorry, I'm distracted with the chat. Frustrated that for some reason my sound is off, and I hate that. Hard to troubleshoot that mid-show. One of the tougher things to do. But okay, my apologies, and hopefully it's not too obnoxious. So.
Hammer's still playing here and resigns.
Yeah.
Okay, 5-4. He.
This is his last chance to make noise in the blitz. Then we move into the bullet, where he again has felt confident. And
yeah, if I'm Hammer, I just don't lose this game. I don't necessarily have to win it. You just cannot
keep
go
it
on
within
tilt.
a game. Exactly. Don't go down. Stop the bleeding. Don't go down 2 games. And keep it close heading into bullet. So.
Yeah, it's so easy to just lose track of things. Say I played like really poorly that last game, and now I'm just falling into this really problematic mindset. Instead, just play chess. You have the white pieces, play for a slight advantage, and go from there. And we've seen this before. The queen on a6.
Yep.
So knight on e7 kind of stinks. All right, so there's a trick here. If queen b7, rook e7, rook c7, then knight c5 picked up material. So Dominguez is defending himself. Now rook c7. Wait, what happens after they made knight h4? Not sure I believe in this. Because knight h4 here, queen b7. And once the queen goes to b7, I'm protecting my knight on f3, which is hugely important. So, but maybe I throw in some knight f4.
He wants the fork. I'd allow the fork. Queen b7 anyway.
So g3, now queen d5. Then, it can't go queen b7 because knight e2 check.
Yeah.
Actually, then rook takes f7 in that line, Danny.
Yeah, that's what I liked.
So maybe queen b7 allowed rook b8, and then just sort of like repetition. Like rook b8, rook a8, I just follow your queen around.
Okay.
I'm not positive.
Knight d5 is nice, though. Getting rid of the pressure on the 7th rank.
I thought he was going to play queen d5.
Okay, well, the endgame really isn't any worse for black, despite being down a pawn, knight being dominant, the d4 pawn being weak. Not a bad transition for Leinier.
Yeah, Dominguez is just super solid.
Yep. Again, I mean, I know it was me hoping to make probably an unnecessary sacrifice out of nothing, but let me do what I do. And I thought the queen to b7 while he had a chance. Okay, if he wants to draw with rook b8 to play tickle, that's one thing, but there's a real opportunity to sacrifice some sort of pieces to get an attack, so that could have been a really fun direction for the game to go, but it did not, and I think we're headed for a draw. But okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe rook a7 here.
Yeah, okay, rook a7, yeah. really.
Whoa, what?
Well, he takes it.
Why would you do that? He's rushing the B pawn
He
up
wants
the
to
board?
win. Bob Barker wants the whole thing.
I wonder if this is a winning or a losing attempt. I need to think about this.
Well, usually it's a little bit of both, right?
Yep.
Can't win without risking losing, Robert. What goes up must come down.
H5, knight H4, knight G6 is a pretty big threat and thematic in a position like this.
A mating net, as they say.
And king G6 runs right into H5 check as well, or G4 first even, but it's point still holds.
Yeah, he might be regretting that, because if he lets Hammer back into this match by essentially pushing on in a position where he should have been settled on a draw, that's only going to build Hammer's confidence heading into Bullet.
Yeah, and the problem is king G6 here. Wait, what? So, okay, he's trying to go rook B6.
Yeah, he's trying to trade rooks, which simultaneously kills the mating net and helps the b-pawn push. So here comes rook to b6. Rook to b6. But if Hammer can, I was going to say, he can trade and then get the knight back in plenty of time.
So let's see, king F1, GH5, king E2, king G6. Nah.
There's no real winning chances.
HG6, king G6, king G2. I mean, I could just rush my king towards the center. So
yeah,
I don't know. I would say there are definitely winning chances. What White actually should do is put this knight on C5.
Yeah, if you get the knight to C5, you're guarding the B3 square and hitting E6.
Yeah.
But what about king G2 right away? Give up the H pawn that way, and then king F3.
I was a little concerned about so king G2, GH5, king F3, king G6,
and then king E4.
And then I thought Black would try to play like king G5 and then play H4 and create an outside pass pawn.
Huh. Okay.
And
so he decides just to trade straight up and then bring the king in, but
considering this is the first lead that Dominguez has had, he's Hammer just needs the. Let's see. So king F5, knight C5 cuts that king off.
Yep.
So knight king F5, king H3.
Go to the H pawn.
But the thing is, I don't think you can take on E6.
I really like the F3 move anyway, though. Just kind of a disciplined move, and sort of ask Black how he wants to approach from here. Black's not in Zugzwang necessarily, but it really reminds Black that he can't really play for a win in this position.
Very true. So knight somewhere. Knight's...
Hammer feels confident. Can see it.
He should.
This is a huge opportunity in this match.
Outsmiter says Hammer still has the enthusiasm and passion of a 10-year-old. I love it.
Yeah, and he's played chess his whole life at a very high level. So you love to see the passion, getting angry when he blunders, getting excited when he wins. We'll see which one of those things he is after this game. But if he wins this match, if he wins the match, this game has a lot to do with it, right? I mean, this would be a huge turnaround heading into Bullet.
Yeah, he did a great job here to turn this game around.
Yeah, he's on the run.
So H4 is a threat. So king C4, H4, take, knight, and the knight takes on F3, and that should be a draw on the spot. So how can he play for a win here?
There's knight E4. Knight E4 threatens knight D6 check.
So knight E4, H4, knight D6 check, king
G5. You can... Okay, he's going all in on the gobbling of the pawn, which is probably just a draw, right?
Yeah. Is he trying to go D5 here or something? That doesn't work.
Okay, he settles on knight E4 now. He's going to play knight D6 check, but now you can't even take because D4
Wait, he might lose this. If he's not careful, he could lose this.
Oh, he's only got 1 second. I didn't even see that.
Wow, I wasn't looking at the clock either.
Holy shenanigans. If he doesn't see it, he's going to lose on time. Oh, my gosh.
I think he sees it now, but he's...
No time.
King D6 was
barely
so
held
clever.
the draw there. OMG.
King D6 was clever.
We are going to take a very, very, very short break. Give these guys what they asked for before the final section of Bullet starts. Only a 1-game lead currently for Dominguez, Perez, and Hammer's right where he wants to be, Robert, right? In a super close match against the overall favorite right now, at least as far as OTB ratings go, and He said against Hansen he liked his chances in bullet. We'll see how he feels against Dominguez Perez.
Well, considering where Hammer was, I don't think he's in the optimal place. He was up a game. Now that he's into the bullet, if you ask him before the match, hey, you're going to be down just one game to Dominguez, how do you feel about that? I think he'd feel like he is in the spot he needs to be because at the end of the day, bullet chess, even with the 1 second increment, can be a bit of a crapshoot. And if that's the case, Hammer has as good of a chance as anyone to knock off Dominguez just down 1 point.
Anything can happen in bullet. What?
I do think Dominguez showed his class in the bullet against Meyer, and I think Meyer is a better bullet player than Hammer. And that's no disrespect meant towards Hammer, but if you look at Arena Kings week after week, which Hammer does play in, and I also play in, I think we know who's the top of the leaderboard, including yesterday's demolition by Georg Meyer. So,
all right, well, we'll see back. We're going to start the bullet portion in 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Shout out to Vindmill, who donated $10 while we were away, bringing that total prize fund up to $2,100. And the game is underway. We will soon know what the set and match is, Robert. I'm super excited for another close match. We have been spoiled today, and hopefully it continues to be close here in the bullet.
By Dominguez, so repetition here, I would just continue doing what he's been doing, play for ideas with bishop to f5, play for ideas with knight to a4 we talked about in another variation. So looking good for Dominguez in this opening. And now it's already hard for black to come up with a move. You play b5 because you need to do something on the queen side, but look at this d4 square. This knight on c3 can always come to e2 and into d4. Just this bishop on b7 is a dud.
Yeah, but he's played this structure a few times now, right? And been able to hold on. We'll see if he continues to feel comfortable in black with less time on the clock. But as I look at as the major pieces are coming off the board and white doesn't have any direct pressure against d5, I just don't feel like white has a huge edge here despite the bad bishop on b7. But maybe I'm just
you know why white has an edge, Danny? Have you looked at Dominguez's camera recently?
Because he's sinking.
He's sinking, and when he's sinking, he's doing well.
When he's sinking, he's snorkeling, and when he's snorkeling, he's happy.
Yeah, he's swimming with the dolphins right now.
Swimming with the dolphins. You know, he really gave us his best effort to care about the presentation of our show here, and I already know he corrected it one time here against Hammer, watching himself creep. But I think right now he knows this match could go either way, and he's just focused on chess, doesn't care anymore how he looks.
Yeah, and also, like, Danny, we're chess players. We know how we move and fidget a lot during chess games, especially ones that are as stressful, as intense as the bullet games.
Yep.
And here in this end game, you look at this knight on c3, it looks like it is, wreaking some havoc, but the problem is there's nowhere to go. So king d2 now forces that knight to e4, a4. Now on e4, you could just trade it by playing, you could have taken with the bishop on e4, but then d takes e4 and his knight on g5 was offside.
Still, I mean, I guess I just look at this differently. I feel like it's a position where, White's been better all match in these positions, but Hammer has held game after game. Has he lost one in this line yet?
The problem here, though, is that the knight on d7 is very stuck because you need to keep control over the c5 square.
Yeah.
And if you play a move like bishop d5, then I will king d4 and even get into this white light square bishop versus knight ending. And I think it's like a Lombardi game or something, going old school, dropping knowledge that was of that nature. So, now I think Hammer has completely leveled the game here. He's done very well. Knight c4 is always met by a4, which is why he's not playing it too quickly.
Yep.
He doesn't want to leave himself with a weakness on b5 or on a6. And as long as the knight's on b6, a4 becomes much more difficult to play. Wait, knight b8 now? He blundered a pawn? Play knight c4. Knight c4, a4, and then take on a4 and play a5 yourself. That way you don't lose
he gets
the pawn.
out of it just barely.
Yeah, because your knight always comes back to e5, defending your bishop on f7. So bishop a4, a5, bishop b3. What?
Whoa.
Oh, he's trying to win the
Yeah,
h-pawn.
that's not a bad idea at all. Look
That's
at
a
that. Triple
very
gaffle, making it as unbalanced as possible, donating 1337 in honor of a great year for wine. 1337 with the donation. Thank you so much. We're definitely going to let the players know of your guys' support as soon as we interview them after the match. Don't go anywhere for that.
whose pawn is better?
I think
h4,
the H
b6.
pawn.
Wait, h4, b6. You can't stop the. What's going on? Knight takes e5. Take e5.
Yeah,
Then
why?
play bishop c6. Oh boy, white wins.
He just blundered into the pawn race.
Yeah, he blundered.
Yeah, and this is exactly when these matches can get frustrating. When look at these chess players. You can see it on Hammer's face. They want time to analyze and critique and dissect and come up with some sort of lesson that they can learn. Which is okay. It's one of the things that makes chess great, and it's good for people's brains. But in a situation like this, Robert, where you don't have the time to discern what went wrong, it ends up emotionally eating at you until you can forget about it.
Oh, absolutely. Think about any classical game you've ever played, Danny, where like my position looked better 6 moves ago. And then you're
Yep.
always thinking about what used to be, what could have been, what
Yep.
is. So that definitely, and especially in this format when you don't have time to dwell.
Yep.
That look at this position for black. Now the knight on d2 is stuck protecting e4. This rook on e7 will swing to c7 to take over the c file.
Yep.
d4 is only protected by the queen. So if I get 2 moves and play rook e7 to c7 to c3, I'm winning the d4 pawn. Already this position looks very, very pleasant for black. And now rook c7, you just control the c file. So I don't know. I think things are not going Hammer's way. I think he's been defending quite resourcefully. In that last game, I thought he had it. But
I think he really did, and it was a time scramble that he's going to wish he could have back. The one thing we'll say about the direction of this bullet versus what he was doing against Hansen, even when he was down against Hansen, he was consistently keeping up on the clock. Here Dominguez he's up 30 seconds. That's a lifetime in bullet.
Yeah, with knight d3 being a big threat in there.
Yeah.
It's played. The knight can go to c1 next. The d4 pawn is hanging. I mean, everything is a mess. So rook e2, queen takes d4 is a problem. Rook f1, still queen takes d4 is even more painful. So this is a free pawn, a very important one. And now the knight f2 check doesn't work, but rook c1 was dangerous. If you're Hammer, you just got to trade queens and run.
Well, you know what you need to do if you're Hammer? You need to take your own advice. What was the advice? What was the reason he said he was able to beat Hansen? Hansen played the same openings that he was comfortable in, and he was able to just execute even faster. And at this point, he's playing the same approach that Dominguez seems to have figured out, right?
Yeah, but a great decision just now by Hammer to trade off those knights. Because now if you're white, you play g5, king h2, king g3. There's g5, good starting move. And the point is that the king can't run too far because rook h1 is an annoying threat. So king g3 here.
Yeah, that's a super creative way to defend.
You should play a5, a4 because the bishop is trapped on b3. So instead he goes this way. And now if you're rook c1 back, I like that. He can keep flipping the rook back and forth. Rook d1 check.
Yeah.
King c7, play g6. And now
tickle. Tickle. Now you can
take
take
on
h6 and go back and target the weakness.
Although now the king can move over because there's no longer the move g6 to undermine the pawn protection. So
e5. I thought maybe g4 sinking, making the pawn backward and then trying to run the white king up was better.
Yeah, he should. Why don't you just take on h6? You have to. Okay, he's still going for this plan.
Yep.
So rook d4 is always possible. So why doesn't he just go rook c1? Rook d1, rook c1. Just keep doing that thing that he's been doing. So f4, I guess, is his plan.
Yeah, he still wants f4, and if the rook moves, he'll bring the king into e3. The whole reason to bring the bishop to f1, everybody, was to guard g2 so that he could play f4, and there wasn't a double attack, but it still may not have been the best plan. Sometimes you commit to a plan in your head, and then you start relocating your pieces to get it. Maybe it wasn't the best plan, right? And that looks
Definitely
like to be the case with
over.
Hammer, yeah.
Look at Dominguez, 26 seconds left on the clock. Speed demon.
Yeah, seriously.
Dominguez
Amazing.
he's a beast.
He really is. I mean, And we've said it time and time again that, okay, we try to predict a lot of things, but a lot of times the stronger player, meaning the stronger player overall, chess knowledge, OTB strength, FIDE ratings, they tend to be better the faster the time control gets, even if they're not originally predicted as going to be the better one in Bullet. So,
yeah, and I'm actually trying to think what seed Dominguez is going to be, because he's higher rated than Ho Yifan, than Duda, than Gujarati. So he's going to like actually slide in there as like a, early teens challenger of the 16-player field. So he's going to get a matchup against someone like, I don't know, Nepo or something.
Well, remember that the pairings this year are different in the SCC, and that players are paired by their Chess.com ratings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so,
a big challenge to all the players within the Speed Chess Championship is to play on the site and try to increase their ratings so that they improve their seeding and their potential matchups. So going to be much more of a crapshoot this year rather than just 1 versus 8, watching some big mismatches. I think we're going to have some really awkward and hard to predict pairings right from the get-go.
Yeah, and speaking of awkward, rook takes b5, knight takes b5, queen b6 check, knight d4.
Knight takes e4. What
yeah,
in the
or
world?
take on e. This is looking tasty for black. But Hammer, you got to do it. You can't think here.
Dude, do it now, Hammer.
But he might be thinking rook b5, knight b5, queen b6, queen d4. That might be an interesting move, because after knight takes queen b5, bishop c4. He took on d5. I don't agree with that decision. I think taking on e4 netted him another pawn. But maybe he didn't want to open up the f-file.
So he's got some pressure for the exchange stack, but I don't know that that's as good as I thought it was going to be the way he approached it. Now he's also down to 10 seconds yet again, which is probably going to end up being the big story of the Bullet here. Dominguez just proving to be much faster than Hammer.
Yeah, and he's not in time. He should probably go knight d3 next, and then take with a c pawn and put his rook on e2 or something like that. Knight d3, just do it. Okay, bishop c5 is fine. Like really, sometimes Bullet chess is just about making a move.
Yep.
A quick move is better than a good move.
Knight d3. Just do
Knight
it.
d3, go.
Yep, you got to play it
there
fast.
It is. Play bishop b5, and then rook e2. Or rook e2. Ooh, look at that move.
Nice little trick.
The rook's trapped.
Rook runs out of squares. Dominguez leans in even further. Get this man a snorkel, as Chessbase said. Tommy still got it. So he said that somebody removed the phone books that Dominguez was sitting on.
This is going to be problematic. That king is not so safe for black. I guess white's king is also lacking.
Yeah, but okay.
So what's going on here? White's up a pawn. But now king f7, king e6,
king e6 gets there just in time. You should have plenty of time to get the b pawn and make his d pawn. The
bishop d. Oh, I like that move, king d3, pretending to go to the king side.
Yeah. Should be in position now to play d5 and d4, blocking off the bishop from guarding the
isn't
b pawn.
black better here?
He might be.
Because king c2, d4. I mean, how are you stopping my pawn?
I may not have to.
Oh, you leave black with the h pawn.
Oh, d3.
Oh, my.
Totally missed that. No way he saw that coming. What a brilliant finish there by Hammer.
Wow.
A match-saving game, potentially.
Wow, what a save.
Yeah. A brilliant game right now by Hammer. Picks up the bishop with the final fork. Let those emotes be shown. All of our subs. Wow, wow.
Hammer.
I don't know if it deserves more exclamation points or question marks, to be honest, because...
he had like a little bit of a smile, kind of. He showed his teeth there.
Just a little bit.
I just got word, Danny, that if Dominguez does qualify, it looks like he might be number 7 out of 16. So, he's sliding
in the middle of the field,
high up in the mix.
No, I'm not saying his OTB strength shouldn't be considered. Obviously, he's right in the middle of the pack. But I was just pointing out that Chess.com ratings will be the ultimate thing that pairs them. So.
Oh, absolutely. No,
And he's literally drowning in the blunders right now. Look, he's falling. I mean, somebody, as Tommy said earlier, Tommy's still got it with some of these awkward puns that he works really hard on. Whenever you see Tommy not be active in the chat, everybody, he's really hard at work trying to come up with something creative. Like Dominguez is just a down-to-earth guy.
And look at that by Chessbait. Dominguez is going down on the Titanic and someone throw him a life vest. He's so low right now.
I would bother him and say, dude, bring your face back up. But at this point, it's become part of these shows that which grandmaster is just going to completely scooch themselves off the screen by the end of the match?
Honestly, look at him. He went lower just now.
He's getting lower and lower.
It makes him, I think, more lovable, honestly.
Yeah.
And for this particular bullet game with the black pieces, I think here, with the queens on the board, he's doing well.
Chess Chilla says, "Where's Dominguez going? He's actually playing limbo and chess at the same time."
Well, Jen Shahadi does hula hoop chess, so Dominguez is trying his hand at limbo chess. He got lower. It's just amazing.
They said it couldn't be done. They said he couldn't get lower, and he proved them wrong.
What a legend.
King Destroyer 3000 says he wants to get under the camera.
Whoa, what just happened here? Rook d3 coming? Oh, the rook d3 runs into mate. Rook c1 check, queen h4 mate. So you have to get your rook into the game without mating yourself. Queen h6 check is a good start, covering the c1 square. Now a move like rook d3 might allow queen f8, which is...
Wait a second. g6.
What? You're behind.
Oh, yeah.
g6 is already taken.
Yeah.
You scared me. I was like, you did the wait a second.
Sorry.
You're fine. So I don't think what Hammer... Oh, Hammer's going to flag. He's got to move.
3 seconds.
This is what Hammer keeps doing this. He's just taking way too much time at critical moments, and he had this game.
Oh, and then he leans back in frustration, knowing he blundered the fork.
Yeah.
Okay,
and he's down 33 seconds.
The one thing, if you're Hammer, you have to tell yourself is, first of all, don't eat your hand. Second of all, you've been here before, down up against the wall, right, as you just were against Hansen. And so, sometimes it can just be the biggest blessing in disguise, that you were down in a previous match, and helps you to keep your composure. But the truth is, right now, it just feels like Dominguez is more consistent, making less blunders, playing much faster in the bullet portion, and overall the stronger player. Also, it looks like a very good complexion on his forehead. Not really too bad of a receding hairline. I mean, Dominguez has got a lot going for him right now.
He got so low right now.
That's funny.
It's amazing. In this game, though, Hammer with the black pieces is better, I think. Just rook c8 here and go throw a rook down on c2. He's kind of using the Dominguez technique.
Well, this is it. Dominguez was in this position before against Meyer, Robert, and lost a couple games to make it close. But right now...
Screamin' Jay goes, the edge of Dominguez is that having no mouth, he does not need to breathe. Oh, gosh.
I don't know what the... If only we could make some memes out of this, but... Right now, Hammer's got some pressure. This looks pretty good for Black. I don't know where this thing went wrong for Dominguez here, but Hammer needs to get this one.
Hammer's playing really great chess right now.
Yep.
F5 was a good move, chiseling away at that pawn structure in the center. How does he convert, though? B2, he can always take on B2 if he really wants, and then take on E4, getting rook and 2 pawns for 2 minor pieces. That actually might be a worthwhile trade. I guess he doesn't need to rush it. He can take on E4 at any moment.
Yeah, no, and it's a smart move to activate your king while you have the pressure, like Black does here, because now if you do go for that transition, your king is just 2 squares better than it was on G8. So,
also, rook B4 is very tempting. Now you threaten to take on B2 and play A4 yourself.
I really like that idea. He didn't see it, but rook B4 would have traded everything and then had a pin at the end, guys. Use that pin.
Where's
that
his
pin
rook going?
Huh?
Rook B4 here. You have to go rook B4, otherwise you run into knight F3 check.
Well, knight F3 check's coming anyway, but now... Oh, why not king F4?
Not only that, he could have taken on F3 and played knight C3.
Oh, that would have been even nastier.
And now his king is actually getting in some trouble. Where's that king going?
Suddenly the king has to run all the way back to G7. No? He's going to allow knight G5 check?
Oh, that king on E5 is scaring me. But I guess it goes to D4 now. If you go knight F7 check, king D4. If you go knight F3, rook takes F3. So
he's only got a few seconds to figure out if he can mate the black king in the middle of the board. His time advantage is dwindling, and now it's gone.
Bad decision making. King D6 now. Or king D4 or something.
Okay, he can play rook D1 check and try to get to the first rank, but it doesn't do much.
Time is of the essence.
Only 4 seconds for Hammer.
Yeah, this is not good. 3-2.
Yep.
Okay, back to 3.8. But now he's
Running out of
defending.
time. He's got to just settle on the draw. Let him trade. Simplify it out.
If I were Dominguez, I would not have traded there. I guess you're about to win the match.
Yeah, I mean, from a bigger picture strategy, it makes it tough if you're Hammer because a draw is essentially a win for Dominguez at this point. Not exactly, but yeah.
It would be crazy if somehow someone won this game.
No, not
I
possible.
mean, they're both trying hard.
Okay. The draw is had. Okay, well, Hammer is mathematically up against it here. Time to get wins. Thanks, Captain Obvious. We're seeing it getting. We're mixing it up here. Hammer diving into his Magnus Carlsen preparation with some Berlin here.
What just happened? Black took on e4, went knight back to f6. White took on e5, went knight back to f3.
It's very principled chess. You move your minors many times before you get the rest of your pieces out. I don't know if you've heard that one.
Couldn't you just have taken on c6 and played knight e5? What is going on in this game?
Well, it's a direct transposition to the Petrov. This is a theoretical position from the Petrov, isn't it?
Right, it does look like that.
Yeah.
But White could have taken on c6 and played knight e5. That looked pretty good. Looked like it might have won a pawn even, or come close to it. Now, well, White's just better.
Yeah, just take on h6 and go for the attack.
This is bullet.
There you go. Let's go.
Wait,
you got to
instead
do
of that
it
move,
instantly.
he had knight e5 as well, threatening queen over to g3. But
Okay,
knight
you can
f5
play
check
knight
now.
f5 and then knight e5, knight g5, queen e3. Queen e3 was just winning on the spot there.
No, the f5 knight was hanging.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah. No, but this is good.
Knight e4. Oh, you gotta get active.
He's heading into h5 and
game over.
likely e6 first.
Queen takes d5. If you want another pawn, I would go rook.
You probably should take the other pawn because it allows rook e4 and then rook h4.
Yeah, that's why he went c4. Smart kind of move.
Rook e4.
Rook e4.
Oh,
Black
but
had knight e5.
Knight e5. Very resourceful defense by Dominguez. This is on the edge of literally on the edge of my seat. But then again, I have a small seat.
Queen h, rook h4 still
Nice. Very nice.
is crushing.
Knight g6 might be the only move now.
No, I would take on f5, rook h4, queen back to h7, and just try to say I have two minor pieces and a rook for a queen. I have compensation. But thinking for 15 seconds and then doing that is not helpful.
Less than ideal, yeah.
No, it's honestly, I'm not even trying to make fun. It's like in bullet, this happens to me all the time. I know I'm going to have to make some crazy bad decision, but you just have to do it quickly and just suck it up.
Yeah. Queen takes e7, very nice. Now he's going to support the f5 pawn with a move like g4. There he goes. Hammer should go on to win this one and keep this thing a match, so don't go anywhere, everybody. It may be close. It may be close.
How many pawns does White have? Like 12?
The answer to that is enough. But he actually doesn't have enough. He should just keep taking him. Oh, that's nice. Or was it? That might have just given Black some crazy counterplay with the knights. Watch out. Watch out for the knights. That he may regret g5.
Well, the thing is, the e7 knight can't move, and you go knight h6, I have g7 check. So you have to figure out a way. Is the king going to h6 and g5 now?
He may not need to. I mean, he still has a rook and two knights for the queen here. I mean, I think that Hammer should have focused on gobbling b7 and pushing the c pawn earlier. Now he's really in potential danger here. These knights are going to take f5, and he's going to mate Hammer to end the match.
Yep.
I'm calling it.
This is over.
Whoa, that was a turnaround. Along with a man who has risen from the dead, we can now see Leinier Dominguez's face.
Wow.
Believe it or not. Shocking as that sounds.
He's risen.
Tommy says, "Touch your mouth if you suck at chess." And they both have their hands on their mouth.
That's awesome.
He's becoming one of my favorite trolls sometimes. Most of the time he drives me crazy, but got to give Tommy a shout out.
That's mate.
Amazing. Match still not over yet. One more game, but that was a rough one there. Definitely one that Hammer.
And Dominguez sunk right back down.
There he goes.
He's lower than he's ever been. You could barely see his eyes.
I thought he suddenly became cognizant of the fact that he was off camera, but okay, clearly wishful thinking, giving him too much credit.
Yeah. Danny, the reason why, I think Dominguez is an amazing player, and he's going to put up the best challenge in the Speed Chess Championships of any of the players here in the qualifier. But what I will say is I think this meant more to Hammer, right? Like Dominguez, he's played all these top players.
Yeah.
He knows them all. They all respect him tremendously. It's like a nice stepping stone for Hammer, who has played in Norway chess, even beat Magnus Carlsen. Everybody knows who Hammer is. It's not like you would go up to Levon Aroni and be like, do you know John? You and Ludvig Hammer. He'd be like, of course, right? Everybody knows him. And so it's not like an ego thing. It's more just as an opportunity thing.
Yeah.
So for Hammer, this was a huge opportunity in his chess career. And for Dominguez, it's kind of just like, all right, cool, like another good event for me. And he's happy about it, but it's not a life-changing event, if that makes sense.
Well, the only counter I'll say to that is that, one, because we know that Dominguez particularly loves Rapid and Blitz. He's a former World Blitz champion. He's known as one of the best Rapid players on the planet. And I can tell you safely now, knowing he's going to make it, like, he actually was pretty upset that I didn't give him a main invitation. And he's actually asked to get in both years we did this. So the only counter I'm going to say to that is knowing and just knowing Leinier for the last 3 or 4 years since he started being active on Chess.com, he was upset I didn't invite him the first year when the nod went to Hari Krishna, and then he was upset he didn't get invited last year, and he was really upset that I made him qualify his way in this year. So frankly, I think he deserves an invite into the main event next year.
So what you're saying is, frankly, he hates you.
Frankly, and then the fact that I picked Meyer against him and said that, I don't know if you saw him chuckle. I'm getting red in the face because I'm kind of embarrassed. Like, he and then even Lawrence Trent, Lawrence actually emailed me because he's good friends with Leinier and was like, hey, dude, why haven't you given him a main invite? So yeah, I hear you. I hear you that it means a lot to Hammer, but I'm actually going to say that I think this means even more to Leinier. I think he really, really wanted to be in this event.
Well, he's getting crushed in this game. So Hammer's staying in it. We didn't even talk about the game at all, but Hammer actually put a beautiful game here to keep himself in it. Now Bishop, 93. Yeah, that's brutal.
I wouldn't say that's fair, Tommy. No beef, just the way it works out. I would like to argue that we've invited a pretty good list of people every year to this event, but anyway. We've got Leinier Dominguez Perez a game away from qualifying his way into the event that he wants to play in, but it's not over yet. Hammer's been here before. Can he go 4-0 instead of 2-0 as he did to tie the match against Hansen?
Great question. And
we're going to find out.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how Dominguez got that invite to the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, so he's getting his
invites this year, yeah.
Well, he got that last year as well, and he was.
Blunders the F2 pawn. Hammer leans back. That might be the final straw.
Yeah, because the Queen H4 check. And
super frustrated with that.
Do you take on A4? Oh, E1 was hanging. He pre-moved Queen takes A4, and the Rook on E1 was hanging.
Really?
Yeah. Oh wait, there's a knight on E8, not a rook.
I was gonna say, what are you? What? I don't think that's what happened.
There's a piece on E8, so you don't expect it to be a knight.
That's funny.
Just ignore me forever.
Well, he's won a pawn, but he does have he's won a pawn being Dominguez, but Hammer does have the bishop pair, so a little bit of compensation here. Plus, if you can go into an obstacle bishop ending, in some cases, that will definitely be drawing chances. So.
But you don't want to make a draw because you need
good
to
point.
win.
Yeah, that's right. Match scenario puts him in a pretty tough spot. It's winner or go home right now, and he's down a pawn, heading into an obstacle bishop ending maybe any moment, and likely Dominguez is going to get his wish, make it into the main event of the SCC.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it.
Yep.
I mean, I've been repping him this whole time. He's a boss. He was my prediction to win. The dude can just play chess, and I respect his chess immensely. So.
Yep.
Sorry.
Too bad for Hammer.
Yeah, I do too. It's really, I think, was a very big deal for him, and he'll get more opportunities, and he plays online a lot, and he's just a lover of the game of chess.
Yep.
So, but Dominguez he's that dude.
Yep.
He's the guy.
Absolutely. Proving that the strongest players in OTB usually translate to Rapid and Blitz as well. He takes this match with that final victory, a 10.5 to 7.5 score. We're going to bring them on here, unmuting their microphones, and happily Happily seeing the full Dominguez, Leinier. We see your full face again. You did a great job of keeping yourself on camera, and then at some point you kind of sunk down a little bit. Because you're going to be playing in the main event of the Speed Chess Championship, I feel free to tell you that we're going to have to work on that. We don't want to lose your full face on camera because the people love you.
Yeah, I was actually moving my screen and then I forgot to adjust it when I was leaning on.
No, it's understandable. You guys were playing some really great chess and really focused. Hammer, congratulations on great chess today. I know this final match didn't go the way you wanted it, but you put yourself in position heading into Bullet, just like you did against Hansen. What were your thoughts at that point in the match? If we had told you you'd be taking only a one-game deficit against Leinier Dominguez Perez into Bullet, would you have taken it?
Yeah. No, I thought like against Eric, I thought that these Bullet games would be my it's where there are the most randomness. The lower the time control, the more the randomness. And I thought that with the 1-1 time control, anything could happen. And as it turns out, he was just so strong, playing so quickly, playing the same opening time and time again. And honestly, after a while there, I ran out of ideas how to counter his opening, and I did not expect him to play the same thing over and over and over and over again. And yeah, no, decent openings, and he just kept on playing them.
Was that something that you decided to stick with, Leinier, because you felt like it was working, based on Hammer struggling to figure out an approach that he was satisfied with, or was that something you prepared and you planned on kind of being stubborn in your approach?
No, I mean, when I saw that it started working, then I saw no reason, because in this type of matches, it's very difficult to kind of come up with something new. I mean, you don't have time to think. And actually, if you're creating problems with an opening, I thought it's a very good chance to keep pressing there.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and in a lot of these matches, we've seen players, play D4, play E4, like switch it up mid-match. And it may not have to be a deviation within the same opening, but did you have a thought, Yoon, to just totally switch it up and play, I don't know, C4 on the first move and just try for just a position?
I did play C4 on the first move multiple times.
Yeah, but oftentimes the game's transposed into things we'd seen many times, right? So I guess I don't know. That was just an example of the top.
No, I mean, when I started realizing that this is not going too great, I switched to E4 and some kind of Grunfeld King's Indian I never play. Yeah. And that's the problem, right? I'm playing my first choice openings, and when he causes trouble for that, or if I'm trying to catch up the lead that he had, then I'm starting to play things I'm unfamiliar with, which means I'm going to spend more time. I'm going to make more mistakes. Right. Actually, towards the end, I was getting fantastic black games, and I was struggling in my white games, and that is not how it should be. So my white games weren't really. They weren't good towards the end.
Well, I mean, obviously it was still super close and back and forth for the majority of the match until, as you said, that Bullet portion kind of Leinier, you put the gas on and you were faster and more consistent, not making many blunders. And what will your strategy be heading into the main event? I shared with our viewers that that you really wanted to play in this event last year. It didn't quite work out, but now you're there, and the truth is, I think you may end up being a favorite in your first round match. And how excited are you to get in the main event, and what are your expectations as far as how far you can go?
Well, definitely very happy to be here and to be a part of the main event. So I'll just play. I mean, I didn't have any special plans for today. I just of course I did some practice, and I thought that, consistency should be one of the main things. Try to play more or less fast and reasonable and not to blunder too much if possible. And if you can manage that, then I think you can always have good chances. So that's what I will try.
And Leinier, I have to say that I was repping you from the very beginning. I said that I predicted you were going to win. Danny predicted Georg to defeat you, which I told him he shouldn't have. But, I just wanted to point out that Danny was wrong. But also, so with the list of players in the Speed Chess Championship, do you have any player that you would prefer to play or prefer not to play just from experience playing all these top guys?
Oh, it's in general, it's very tough, yeah. But I thought actually there was an interview prior to the match, and I was asked that question, and I said Wei Yi because I never played against him, and it just seems interesting to a very good player, interesting player, but it would be nice to play a match against him, even if it splits.
Well, for the first time, the players are truly in control of their own pairings destiny because we're using Chess.com ratings to do it. So all you got to do is just figure out what seed you need to be to play Wei Yi, and then you got it, and you got the matchup you want. But all right, Jon Ludvig, super great chess today. You really thrilled us with one of the most exciting matches we've ever seen earlier today. And before I let you guys go, just have to say that the fans really came out in support of you guys. Chess Bay, the legend herself, making a huge donation. I think it was Snedgman. I'm sorry, I don't remember everyone's username, but the overall prize fund was increased by more than $600 total. So a little bit more cash in your guys' pockets for your hard work. Coming in at over $2,100 as far as the total prize today to be split up between you 4 players. So thank you to the fans. Thanks to you guys for impressing them enough so that they stuck around. And again, really appreciate this and can't wait till the Open Qualifier. Maybe Hammer, maybe you still get in. Just go win the Open Qualifier.
Yeah, when is it?
July 10th.
Yeah, I'm playing the Norwegian Championship. So
oh, man. It's like you got to make choices in life, right?
Yeah. No, I would like another one of the... And for the winner of the Norwegian Championship, you get what's called the King's Trophy. So It's pretty prestigious.
Okay. If you win the SEC, you also get a trophy, which... Anyway, no, you guys have been great. Thanks to all the fans who've been with us all day. So many subscribers, so many donations. You guys have all been amazing. Leinier, congratulations, and we will see you very soon. And too bad we won't have you on July 10th, Hammer, but I'm sure the fans will see you tomorrow. Are you streaming tomorrow, Arena Kings?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, while you're here, if you haven't already subscribed and followed Hammer's channel, go do it. Leinier, when are you starting your own Twitch channel?
Well, actually, I probably soon because I just started a new website with chess stuff, videos, and everything. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'll already have my Twitch. It's a Chess Leinier.
Awesome.
And so yeah,
coming soon. All right, everybody, we're gonna bounce here in just a moment, and thanks again, Leinier and Jon Ludvig. Stick around for the host. I believe it is it Chess Chilla coming right up next? Christian Carilla? I think so. Congratulations, Leinier. Thank you, Hammer, as well.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.